do chores. So, up in the garden this morning and a little overwhelmed by the season that we're in right now, and remembering that I feel this way every year as summer is really heating up and the plants are exhausted from the heat. They can't take the heat. I can't take the heat. So just up here doing a little bit of work, and thought I would share a few things with y'all that are on my heart while I'm in the garden. So if you've been around a while, you know that the garden is the place where I really get inspired. I really get peace, get grounded, can really think through some things, pray through some things, process things. There are so many lessons that are taught by the garden, by tending the garden. So it's the second week of August, and this is the season every year that I struggle. I struggle in the garden. I struggle a little bit with time passing, with kids starting back to school and, getting nearer the end of the season of them being in our home. So I'm just out here in the garden this morning. This is the kids. So sorry, I did not plan on doing this. The kids' first day back to school this year. And they have a lot of change at their school, a lot of changes in just their lives. They are 15 and 16, starting their sophomore and junior year. And just thinking how this is a weird season in the garden as well. The plants that were thriving in spring and summer, early summer, are overwhelmed by the heat, by the bugs. Thinking a little how I'm overwhelmed. So the garden is a good place for me to process all these things and to practically work these things out in my mind and in my heart. The changing of the seasons, the pulling out of the things that are spent and have run their course. I know this is heavy, y'all. I literally did not plan on doing any of this. But these are the things that I work through oftentimes in the garden by myself. I think when you are faithful in things like this and you work through those hard seasons and you focus on the beauty of the coming season, I'm mixing fertilizer for the plants that are still trying to thrive in this heat. And I'm thinking about all the practical and the spiritual lessons that come with that. That there are things in hard times that are destined to make it through those hard times, but they have to be fed, they have to be nurtured. So, I know that's a lot, but I'm going to feed those things that are still trying to thrive. I'm going to feed these few cucumbers that are left and these few volunteer tomatoes and my beautiful flowers that are still thriving, my cantaloupes that are still thriving, or doing their best to thrive in this heat and this dryness. I'm going to feed them. I'm going to give them some fertilizer. I'm going to give them some extra nutrients. I'm going to do my best to make sure that those things that still have life in them, that they live. So my favorite organic fertilizer is fish fertilizer. I typically buy really whatever I can find, whatever brand. This I think is Alaska, the Alaska brand. It's just a couple of tablespoons in a gallon of water, and you drench the soil around the plant. You can also use it as a foliar feed, so you can put it in a garden sprayer and the plants can actually absorb this through their leaves as well. It is a great, I have found the most effective fertilizer that I can use here in the garden. It's rapidly absorbed, rapidly utilized by the plant, and I feed them, do my best to feed them often in these really fast growing seasons and stressful seasons for the plants. The garden is a little sad right now, but I want to show you this crazy luffa plant. So this is the one volunteer luffa. It has already traveled across this whole cattle panel arch and has already attached itself to this fence line here. Last year it traveled this whole fence. So you can see it's got this really stiff, strong vine that will just sort of float around in the air until it finds something for the little tendrils to grab hold of. It's crazy. It is not flowering yet. It was super late to flower last year, and I still got almost 100 loofahs off of 2 plants last year. So I'm going to give this a little fish fertilizer. See, it is grabbing hold of this okra here. So I'm going to have to cut all that back. Okay, so I'm sitting here looking at these cosmos. So they're gorgeous. They are popping up and volunteering everywhere. This bed had cosmos in it last year, and I did not deadhead them like I should, and so they dropped seed everywhere. So I've let a lot of them grow. I've transplanted a lot of them. So there are these few right here that are beautiful. They're starting to flower. But as you can see, they're not even in the bed. They're actually growing in the path. So I've been stepping over them, tripping over them, trying not to damage them because they're pretty. And I've had a hard time just ripping them out because they're beautiful. So, and that got me to thinking about things in our lives that might be good things, but they might be in the wrong place. They might be in the wrong spot in our priorities, or they might be in the wrong time, the wrong season. Maybe it's relationships, maybe it's jobs, tasks, hobbies. You know, it could be any one of a number of things. But it can't accomplish everything that it's supposed to accomplish if we let that thing try to grow and flourish in the wrong place, in the wrong time. You know, I'm thinking, I'm tripping over this, I'm damaging it. It is actually inhibiting the work that I need to get done in and around this bed because I'm so concerned about this pretty thing right here that really shouldn't be here in the first place. So I'm gonna rip it out. And that's hard. I mean, I know, right, we're talking about a flower, but talking about those real things in our lives that they are somewhere that they shouldn't be. So I'm going to encourage you, as I'm going to do with these cosmos that I have been tripping over for weeks and trying not to damage, even though they're growing where I never intended for them to grow. So, y'all, get a garden, grow some things, get out there in some peace and quiet, and learn some life lessons. Let the insight that you find in the garden, let it change you in real life. Let learn how to apply, and I'm saying these things to me, I need to learn how to apply these lessons and this revelation that I have in the garden, how to apply it to my real life. So that's one of today's garden lessons, garden talk.